In April 2026, a geopolitical commentator known as Professor Jiang went viral with a claim that made the crypto world very uncomfortable. He concluded that Bitcoin is a CIA black operation. This wasn't a theory or a guess, but a conclusion drawn from game theory analysis. He asked three simple questions. First, who had the technical capacity to build Bitcoin back in 2008? The answer is a very short list of organizations, like DARPA, the NSA, or the CIA. Second, who really benefits from a permanent, unchangeable public record of every financial transaction on Earth? The answer is intelligence agencies. And third, why would anyone spend years building such a complex system and then just give it away for free? Only an institution with unlimited resources and a clear strategic objective would do that. The crypto community laughed it off, pointing to the open source code and the cypherpunk movement. But they were looking at the wrong thing. They were focused on the code, when they should have been looking at the money. Then, in February 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice released millions of documents from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. What emerged was not just a scandal. It was a financial architecture that connected the deep state directly to Bitcoin's foundational infrastructure. Epstein was not some minor player in crypto. He was one of its earliest and most significant secret financiers, with his involvement starting back in 2011, just 2 years after Bitcoin launched. He funded MIT's Bitcoin Research Laboratory and invested heavily in Blockstream, the company that maintains Bitcoin's core protocol today. He put $3 million into Coinbase in 2014 and later sold half of his shares to Blockchain Capital for $15 million in 2018. The timeline here is absolutely critical. Epstein's money entered the system at the exact moment Bitcoin needed institutional backing to survive, long before it became mainstream. He funded the very infrastructure that made Bitcoin what it is today. It is well documented that Jeffrey Epstein was not a rogue actor. Congressional investigations and credible journalism show he operated as an asset for multiple intelligence agencies, including the CIA, Mossad, and MI6. His entire operation was built on compromat, which is a term for blackmail material. He gathered intelligence on the world's most powerful people, from politicians to scientists, and used that leverage to steer events. In a telling move before his death, his lawyers even filed FOIA requests to the CIA and NSA, an action that only makes sense if there was a relationship to protect. When an intelligence asset of this magnitude secretly becomes the foundational investor of a new global financial system, it is not a coincidence. It is an operation. The documents prove Epstein was connected to Bitcoin. The real question is, what was the objective? This brings us to the central paradox that Professor Jiang identified. Bitcoin is marketed as the ultimate tool for financial freedom and privacy, but it is the exact opposite. Bitcoin is, by its very design, the most transparent financial ledger in human history. Every single transaction ever made is permanently recorded, publicly visible, and mathematically impossible to alter. For an ordinary person, this might feel like freedom from big banks. But for an intelligence agency, it is the ultimate honeypot. You don't need to build a backdoor into the code or compromise the cryptography. You just need to own the infrastructure, like the exchanges where people buy Bitcoin, the research labs that guide its development, and the developers who maintain it. Then you simply wait for the world to voluntarily record its entire financial history on your ledger. The NSA perfected this model with communications. They just needed to own the infrastructure, not break the encryption. Bitcoin simply applied that same architecture to money, and Epstein's investments built the on-ramps. The cypherpunks may have written the philosophy, but who actually financed the network? The Epstein files give us a partial answer, and it points directly to the deep state. Professor Jiang may not have had the documents when he made his claim, but when they finally arrived, they told the exact story his game theory predicted. Whether Bitcoin was designed by the CIA or simply captured by it early on, the result is the same. The infrastructure of the world's most celebrated financial rebellion was built, in large part with intelligence money. The illusion of decentralization is perhaps the greatest trick the deep state ever pulled. They gave us the feeling of rebellion while building the ultimate tool for global financial surveillance. They funded the network, they own the exchanges, they control the on-ramps and off-ramps. And every transaction is recorded forever on a public ledger they can analyze without restriction. If you want to understand the real forces shaping our world, you have to look past the narrative. You have to follow the money. And when you do, it leads back to the same place it always does: the deep state. If this analysis opened your eyes, subscribe to Business Undercurrent. We follow the money and ask the questions the mainstream will not touch. Subscribe now and join us as we uncover the real architecture of power.